Welcome! ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 29th of January. Good to have you aboard. We're part of the Believe Podcast Network and presented as always everywhere by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. So glad to have you guys aboard today. Starting off the week, got a fun show, got a lot to catch up on, and of course, the big game, you know what I'm talking about. The big game is set. We got Kansas City, we got San Francisco, we're headed to Vegas. I mean, not really me, but, in theory, we're headed to Vegas, and Bet Online is your number one source for playoff football odds, stats, trends, all the lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of player performance props. You can head to Bet Online today, right now. Stay updated on all the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. So, here's what we got going on. Thanks to anyone who hung out with me, joined us this weekend. I did ESPN Radio on Friday night. Yeah, Friday night with my man Q Myers, did game night. Yesterday did primetime with Super Bowl champion Brandon Jacobs, who I've done that show with a few times. Brandon's a good dude. And former All-Pro linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Chad Brown, also joined us yesterday. So it was the three of us, and we're doing the show. We're doing primetime during the majority of the AFC Championship game, the entire second half of the AFC Championship game, and the first 3 quarters of the NFC Championship game. So, obviously, we're doing a ton today. Most of the show is on the AFC and NFC Championship game today. But first, I got to tell you about the weekend that I had. I had a weekend. So, Saturday night, my son and I, we went to the Royal Rumble. That's right, WWE Royal Rumble, second biggest show of the year. It sets up WrestleMania. We now know, theoretically, we now know the main event of WrestleMania as Cody Rhodes wins the Men's Royal Rumble. That was the main event. That went on last. Cody Rhodes wins the Men's Royal Rumble, and he points right at Roman Reigns, who's watching in a suite, says, "I'm coming for you." So Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, 2 second straight year at WrestleMania. Is Cody going to finish the story? The Women's Royal Rumble, my pick was won by Bayley. Oh my, I'll tell you, the whole night was amazing. We had such a great time. It was me and my son, Jordan. I was so excited when Bayley won. I don't get too excited at these shows because, look, it's a show. It's scripted. Don't say it's fake. You're fake. It's scripted, so I don't get too excited, But I want to be a part of big moments. That's what pro wrestling's about now, because it's not just about, if your favorite star wins or loses. You want to be there. You want to be part of the moment. That's the best part about pro wrestling. And that felt like a moment. I was so excited when Bayley won. She was my pick, and just the whole way it went down, phenomenal. But my son and I, it was the most fun I've ever had at a WWE show. It's a monster show, Royal Rumble. It was my 3rd time ever being at Royal Rumble. I went 1991, 2016, and now 2024. And this was the most fun I ever had because my son Jordan, my older son Corey, he's grown out of it. He doesn't care about pro wrestling anymore. My younger son Jordan, he's still now he's not going to watch it. He doesn't watch it religiously the way that I do. But he likes it, and he loves going, and he always wants to go with me. So he had a phenomenal time, but it helps my time because he is the type of personality where he gets into it, and he cheers, and he chants. And so being there with him, who is going to have these reactions, it brings it out in me as well. And it was the most fun I've ever had at a WWE show. It was a monster show. You had 45,000 people, completely sold out to the rafters of Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. So we have seats. We're sitting in what I guess is their club level, the second level at Tropicana Field, around third base. And the ring is the pitcher's mound, okay? And we had a good vantage point, but here's the thing. It's a stadium. So just imagine if you're sitting in the second level and you're at third base and you're looking at the pitcher's mound, it's kind of far. And I'll be perfectly honest, I had a tough time seeing the competitors in the ring. I was struggling a little bit. And this is during the Women's Royal Rumble match because this is what went on first. Now, I also had a credential from WWE. So they gave me a ticket, one ticket. They gave me a ticket on the floor. It was one of the sections on the floor, like it's next to the mixer, next to the the soundboard, next to the hard camera. So all in all, it was like, you know, a section behind a section on the field, if you understand what I'm saying. And I say to my son, in the middle of the Women's Royal Rumble, I go, hey, you see that section right down there? Would you rather sit there? And he said, yeah, let's try it. And I'm like, okay. So here's the thing, though. I only have one floor ticket, the one WWE gave me. But when we entered the stadium, we entered through a special gate, okay? We entered in the gate where you enter if you have a floor seat. And so we go there, and I show them my floor ticket. They go, okay, come right this way. He goes, go get your wristband from that guy right there. Because that's how they're not checking your tickets when you get onto the field level. They check if you have a wristband, all right? So I go up to the guy, I show him my pass. He goes, okay, floor? I go, yeah. He goes, all right, give me your wrist. And he puts the wristband on. He goes, 2, right? Him also? And I go, yeah. Yes, him also. 2 wristbands, yeah. So we got the extra wristbands when we walked in. He didn't even check my son's seat. He assumed I had 2 field passes because I'm not going to sit on the field and my son's sitting somewhere else. So we both had a wristband. So I said during that, let's go down there. Let's see if it's better. And so we went down to the field level after the Women's Royal Rumble match, and we walked right onto the field. The security sees we both have wristbands. We're good to go. And he's jumping around now as we pass and we're on the field. And now we're like in the middle of the action. We're just imagine, like you're in a stadium, in the middle of a stadium with a roaring crowd. We're in the middle of the action now. And so we go to the section where my field level ticket is, and we go all the way up to the front of the section. And there were 2 empty seats right on the aisle. We sit right there. Nobody bothered us the whole night. So because we were a section behind a section, we were still able to see the ring perfect because we were in the front row of that section on the aisle, and we had a clear path to look at the ring because of the aisle in front of us, in front of that section, if I'm explaining it properly, you know? We had a perfect vantage point. We're about 150 feet away from the ring. It was awesome. And the way that the wrestlers exit the ring when they're eliminated from the Royal Rumble, so when the Men's Royal Rumble eventually came, the way that they exit the ring, they don't go back up the runway. That looks weird. They exit through the crowd, through the field, through a rail. We're sitting on the rail. This was a total coincidence. We're sitting on the rail. So every wrestler that left the ring to go back into the locker room passes my son. He's giving high fives and taking pictures to all of them as they walk out the ring after they're eliminated. We had the best time. And yeah, Bayley wins the Royal Rumble, which might be my favorite moment I've ever been at pro wrestling. It was so exciting. And Cody Rhodes wins the Men's Royal Rumble, which was super exciting. It was a phenomenal event. The women's was better. I think the women's was the best women's Royal Rumble match ever. The women's was unbelievable. The event overall was fantastic. Tropicana Field is a dump, but it was an amazing night. We had such a great time. I can't wait for the next big event that we go to. And thank you to WWE for including me on the credential list. So, what a great night. That's how the weekend started. So I get home on Sunday. We got to leave early enough because I'm doing ESPN Radio Primetime at 5 p.m. And so I get back plenty of time where I'm watching the championship games, then I got to do primetime. But on my way home from St. Petersburg on Sunday, I realized, yeah, I'm tired right now. It's not that big a deal that I got to work tonight, but I got to go to the Travis Scott concert. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's where you all thought I would be on a Sunday night, right? In Miami at Travis Scott. That's not a surprise to anybody. So my son, my older son, he's 15, Corey, him and his friends, they love rap music. Let me tell you something. Rich, not that my family's rich, far from it. Rich Jewish kids love rap music. And that's not just this generation. That was all my friends growing up as well. I was the only one that didn't like rap music. Rich Jewish kids love rap music. And my son and his friends love Travis Scott. I don't know shit about Travis Scott. And, like, matter of fact, the other day when I was co-hosting Game Night with Q Myers on ESPN Radio, which I'm doing again this Thursday, before the show started, but I go, yo, Q, and Q's black. I said, hey, Q, you know Travis Scott? And he's like, no, I don't know him personally. Like, I know you don't know him personally. I don't think all black people know each other, all right? But do you know Travis Scott? Like, what's the music, all of that deal? And he said, yeah, it's all right. It didn't help me much. So, anyway, back to the beginning. I got tickets for my son. 4 tickets. I wasn't planning on going. God knows I didn't want to go, especially on a Sunday night after I really had a long weekend. But the parents, and I'm not one of those parents who thinks that, oh, the concert's dangerous. I went to my first ever concert at 16. It was Rage Against the Machine, Wu-Tang Clan. My son and his friends are 15. And this is an indoor concert. And by the way, the police presence outside of the arena, I've never seen anything like it. There must have been 40 police cars that were parked on the median. But anyway, I'm not one of those people, and especially because, oh, it's a rapper, it's a black guy, it's not safe. No, not like, I think it's totally fine for my son and his friends to go. But not all the parents felt that way. So I said, listen, this is what we'll do. You drop them off at the concert. When I get done with my show at 9 o'clock, I'll get in the car. I'll meet them down at the arena. I'll sit at the show with them. That's the things you do for your kids, right? I want to be anywhere but Travis Scott on Sunday night. So I wrap up primetime at 9 p.m. My son and his friends, they got dropped off. I figured I thought the show was going to start at 9. All right, it'll end by 11. I'll get there by 9:45. I get to the arena. I'm walking in. My son says, are you here yet? I go, yeah, I'm walking in. I say, is this show still going on? He goes, it's about to start any minute. Are you fucking kidding me? This is now the worst night of my life. I thought I was going to arrive. I'm really tired. I thought I was going to arrive. I could chill for 45 minutes and then I can go home. The show hasn't even started yet. So I get there to the arena. I enter through the floor because thank God the tickets that I have come with the wristband where I get all access on the floor. I can go in the lounge in the back, which we'll get to that in a second. I get there. I'm on the floor. I walk around the stage. The show just started. I can't even describe to you how loud it was. I thought Monster Truck was loud. I thought the Monster Truck races was loud. My entire body was vibrating. I've been to Metallica. I've been to Rage Against the Machine. I've been to Slipknot. None of them are close to as loud as this Travis Scott show last night. My body was vibrating. I get up to the seats. And my son, like the show just started. I get up to my seats and, my son, he's laughing. His friends are laughing that now I'm there with them. And I'm like, all right, have a good time. I'm going down to the lounge. I can't be here. I gotta get the fuck out of here. And so I go down. Now, I'm hanging out with my guy Dimitri at the bar. He's the bartender. It's just me. And luckily, they got the TVs on there. The football just ended, but I got my phone. So, I'm watching SportsCenter on my phone. I'm chilling. I'm having a drink. My guy Dimitri's giving me good heavy pours, so it's all good. Which, by the way, those drinks, it's $30 a drink. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so I'm chilling there throughout the show, breaks in the show. By the way, and I'm the only one sitting at the bar. But people randomly start popping through. Like, by the way, I look at the other end of the bar. This is like 30 minutes into the show. I look at the other end of the bar. I'm the only one sitting there. Buddy is on the other side of the bar ordering a drink. I look up at him. I point to him and go, Jack. Looks at me and goes, Zaslow. Jack McClinton is there. So now I got someone to talk to. All-time great Miami Hurricane. Probably my all-time favorite Miami Hurricane basketball player. I've told you guys this before. So Jack McClinton now, he's at the show. He's enjoying himself. Now I got someone to chat with for a few minutes here. You know, of course, like, what are you doing here? I'm like, yeah, that's a really good question. So people are coming through every now and then. You know, you got the hoochies. I mean, so many hoochies. Oh, my God, unbelievable. And so I'm chilling down there for like the first hour and a half of the show. Show's supposed to end around 11:30. So I go down there at like 11:20. I pay my bill. I go back out onto the floor. And so now, because I want to get back up in the seats. My son and his friends had amazing seats. They were like, what would be center court, just a few rows up. Unbelievable seats. But I'm just like, I'm just going to stay here on the floor. They'll come down to me when it's over. So I'm watching I got to be the oldest person there. I'm watching the Travis Scott show, the final like 20, 25 minutes of the show, on the rail, on the floor. Travis Scott's right in front of me. I'm on the rail. It was a fucking scene, if I could describe it. You know, I've been to a million concerts, okay? I've never seen anything like this. I say that in no unequivocal terms. I've never seen anything like this. The place is filled to the top, completely packed. Super young audience, obviously, which is why I think I've never seen an energy like this, because the crowd was crazy young. And if I could tell you, so like you go to a rock show like I do, in the lower level, all right, and the stage is the whole floor. The whole floor. So I'm on the rail on the floor. The stage is the whole floor. And you know how it works like at rock concerts, even like an awesome rock concert. The entire lower level and the floor, everyone's jumping around, jumping up and down for a lot of the show. Not only was the crowd jumping up and down the entire show, but at a rock show, the upper level, they're kind of chilling. They're not jumping up and down because they're not close enough to the action. My right hand to God, the entire building, all the way up to the rafters, jumping up and down the whole show. I've never, ever seen a crowd like this. I mean, I hated every second of it, but I've never seen a crowd like this. These people, I mean, they had a better time at this show than I've ever had at a concert. And I love going to concerts, and you know I love Pearl Jam. Every one of these people was having a better time than I've ever had at a concert. And that's not a knock on me. That's more about the energy they have. Like I said to Jack McClinton when I was talking about the bar before he went back out, I was like, so he's, I said, it's crazy out there, right? Everyone's jumping around. He goes on, but I go, who the hell has the energy for all this? So, and here's another weird thing. I look in the crowd, and I can easily see my son and his friends from where I'm standing on the rail. I look in the crowd. I would say half the crowd, I don't know what this is about. I would say half the crowd, the men, the boys, they have their shirts off. Like, is that a thing at rap shows or just Travis Scott shows where the guys have their shirts off and they're jumping around? I look over at my son and his friends. My son, by the way, who's in a cast, all right? He's in a cast in his right foot. My son and his friends are jumping around with their shirts off. My 15-year-old son is in the middle of this sea of people in the lower level jumping around no shirt at the Travis Scott show. I've never seen anything like this. Anyway, that's where I was last night. We got home around 1 or so. And I woke up this morning, by the way, I tweeted out, I woke up this morning, Jonathan Coachman, my guy, come on. Jonathan Coachman and his partner Alan Bell, they have a new venture. You know, they used to be on CBS Sports, and they have a new venture now on their own, kind of like me. They're on their own now. Driving the Line is their new brand. So you can check it out on Twitter. It's probably at Driving the Line. But I also retweeted it on all my socials. They're also on the YouTube. Go subscribe to them, Driving the Line, on their YouTube channel. they have a pretty big following. It's a sports show every morning, 10 a.m. It's for like an hour. It's a sports show that's based around gambling. Anyway, I made an appearance on Driving the Line this morning. I think I'm going to be on it more often coming up, which is cool and exciting. So go check out Driving the Line. Go check out my segment I did with those guys this morning on Driving the Line. You can go check it out on the YouTube channel, youtube.com. But subscribe to them, and yeah, I think you guys will enjoy it. They have a great following, a great community of listeners and viewers they've had for years. Driving the Line, I'll be on that a bit more often now as well. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I was exhausted this morning. I wake up, I do Driving the Line. That's why ZASLOW Show 2.0 today, a little bit later of a release than normal, okay? I had a lot going on between last night and today. But I had a crazy weekend. Royal Rumble was amazing. Travis Scott last night was a scene. And now, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. All right, first though, you know what helped me get that great sleep last night? Sheets and Giggles, that's right. Sheetsgiggles.com, where you're going to get the softest, coolest, most breathable sheets you've ever had. That's how you make sure, that's how we get the great sleep here in the ZASLOW Mansion master bedroom. My dogs, Bailey and Shaggy, they're both sleeping right now. They're just about 10, 15 feet away from me. They're sleeping on the Sheets and Giggles. Both of them are passed out while I'm doing this show. How are they sleeping so well, even though everybody knows I'm pretty loud? Because they're sleeping on Sheets and Giggles. The softest, coolest, most breathable sheets. The comforter. I got a eucalyptus pillow. That's right. Sheets and Giggles is made from the wood of eucalyptus trees. But my man Colin, the founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles, he's making sure it's all environmentally friendly. Go to sheetsgiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW. 20% off at checkout. That's right. Promo code ZASLOW. 20% off at checkout. You don't even have to thank me, all right? Just continue getting the best sleep of your life after you put those bed sheets on your bed. Sheetsgiggles.com, promo code ZASLOW, sheetsgiggles.com. And of course, how do you think I'm going to kick back tonight? We're going to watch Monday Night Raw, which is live in Tampa tonight. We're going to watch Monday Night Raw. We got the Heat and Suns. I'm going to crack open an ice cold Johnny Cuba, official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Johnny Cuba's got those European roots with that Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba right now. Your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. Got some more locations coming. By the way, that reminds me, I got to talk to my man Juan from Johnny Cuba this afternoon. They got some more locations that are picking up Johnny Cuba, and I'm going to pass that info along to you. Official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Only beer we keep here in the ZASLOW Mansion. Make sure you always drink responsibly. And of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So, we'll circle back to the Heat and Panthers. Let's get to the important stuff first. And the important stuff being Championship Sunday. So, it's the Chiefs and the 49ers, which I shouldn't say I'm heartbroken for the Lions. I really don't give a shit about other teams outside of my teams, but I was rooting for the Lions. I was into it, you know? Let's start with San Francisco and Detroit. This is a meltdown by the Lions. Brock Purdy was not good in the first half. They make whatever adjustments they make at halftime, and in the second half, the 49er offense was great. I knew Detroit was going to have to score. I love Detroit +7. I liked them a lot as an outright dog to win the game. And I was looking great in that regard. They end up covering, of course, they don't win, but I knew this was going to be a high-scoring game. And then at halftime, when Detroit's up 24-7, wow, San Francisco's just not holding up their end of the bargain. I felt Detroit was going to have to score a lot of points because I felt Detroit was going to score, but also San Francisco is going to score because I don't love Detroit's defense. Well, the adjustments that San Francisco made at halftime, of course, Detroit couldn't stop them. But the story of this game was a meltdown by the Lions. And I know the winning fan base, the winning team, they don't hear that when it's did so-and-so win or did so-and-so lose. I'm not even going to say that for this game. It was a meltdown by the Lions. And I'm not even placing blame. I know a lot of people, like Dan Campbell's the story, right? Did Dan Campbell blow it? Did Dan Campbell get out-coached? That's always a funny one to me, right? Where the guy gets out-coached. We don't have enough information to know. What were the adjustments that Kyle Shanahan made? Or what were the adjustments that Dan Campbell didn't make? How do we know he was out-coached? How do we know that Dan Campbell and his coaching staff didn't give his team at halftime the information, the adjustments to make, and then his team just didn't carry it out properly. Like, it's such an easy thing to say so-and-so got outcoached. But when we see decisions that are being made on the field in real time, that's a lot easier for us to react as a fan because we could see it in front of us. He decided to do this instead of doing this. And that's what we had last night with Dan Campbell and the fourth downs. And that's why today is a major second guess day for Dan Campbell. Now, I will say, I'm on the air on ESPN Radio, all right, doing primetime with Brandon Jacobs and Chad Brown. And when it's 24-10 coming out in the third quarter, see, it was late in the first half, and it's 21-7. And we know Dan Campbell is super aggressive. But I'm saying, all right, in this spot here, kick the field goal. Kick the field goal. They're doing an excellent job of draining time in the second quarter to make sure the Niners don't get the ball back because they're also getting the ball at the start of the third quarter. Don't allow them to get the double dip. Drain the time. Make sure you come out with 3 points. And they do. Smart move. So it's 24-7. They're up 3 scores now, right? The Niners have to score. Now remember, I'm saying this in real time. I'm on live on ESPN Radio. The Niners have to score to start the third quarter. It could be a field goal to make it a 2-score game. They have to come out with points. And they do. They get a field goal. Makes it 24-10. But the Lions, like they've been doing the entire first half, are marching down the field and doing whatever they want. If the Lions are to come down the field now, after the Niners cut it to a 2-score game and get a field goal, if the Lions come down and get a touchdown, demoralizing. Demoralization. Like the game may be over if the Lions do that. And now we got 4th and 3. You got a chance to kick a very makeable field goal. I think they're on the 20. And to me, this is a no-brainer, kick a field goal. And I'm saying this on the air. It's a no-brainer, kick the field goal for 2 reasons. Number one, Dan Campbell, earlier in the game, at the end of the first half, decided, let's kick a field goal, make it a 3-score game. Now we're in the middle of the third quarter. Why wouldn't we do the same thing? Kick a field goal, make it a 3-score game. So Dan Campbell felt one way at the end of the second quarter and felt the completely different way in the third quarter. And I would think it should be the opposite because you're getting the 3 points back that San Francisco just got. And instead of being up 17 with 30 minutes left in the game at the start of the third quarter, you're back up 17 with 22 minutes left in the game. Half the third quarter has ticked off, and you're back where you started. You ate up time, and San Francisco didn't get any closer. To me, that's a no-brainer, kick the field goal. And I'm saying it on the air. But Dan Campbell's coached one way throughout most of the season and wants to get to the Super Bowl being that guy, which I get. I understand. So they go for 4th and 3, and Josh Reynolds, who had a nightmare of a game, drops an easy 4th and 3. Now look at the succession of events that take place because of that one moment. Look at the butterfly effect that happened. Instead of taking 3 points, and I know you could say, oh, you don't know if he would have made it. It was a very makeable kick. You have to assume he makes the kick. Look at the butterfly effect from not going up 17. That then leads to the Brandon Ayuk crazy catch. Now you got some bad juju going on. You got the crazy catch off the shoulder pad, off the helmet of the Lions DB. Brandon Ayuk comes down with it. That leads to a touchdown. Now we got a 1-score game. Detroit gets the ball back. Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. Niners recover. Easy touchdown. Now we're tied. The butterfly effect from not going back up 3 scores. Now all of a sudden we're tied at 24. Very next possession. It was possession after possession after possession after possession. Total disasters for the Detroit Lions. Then Reynolds again. Wide open 3rd and 9. Drop. They have to punt. Leads to a Niners field goal. 27-24 now. We're in the fourth quarter. The Niners are ahead. Detroit gets the ball back. What do? They drive the field like they've been doing most of the game. 4th and 3 from the 30. Now this to me was the most egregious of the Dan Campbell decisions. 4th and 3 now from the 30. You have not scored yet this half. and now you are trailing with 7 minutes to go. Instead of kicking the field goal to tie it, a 48-yard attempt, not a gimme, but super makeable for NFL kickers. 4th and 3 from the 30, they don't get it. 49ers then drive, they get the field position, touchdown, 34-24, ball game. The butterfly effect that took place from not matching that field goal in the middle of the third quarter and going back up 17 led to disaster possession after disaster possession after disaster possession. And Dan Campbell, I don't even know if he's not going to be able to sleep for the next few nights because of it. I don't even think Dan Campbell regrets these decisions because this is the guy that he's been. And this is how they've gotten to the place that they're at. But my big thing is, I think sometimes part of being a coach is adjusting, is adapting to the situation. And this situation called for something a little bit different than the way you've been coaching throughout the year. And he didn't adapt to this situation. And that's the part, I don't think Dan Campbell's going to lose sleep over it, but that's the part to me that would be frustrating. Like, Dan Campbell's getting the blame. I can't get crazy about it, though. I do think that I don't like the decision making, but I'm not going to get crazy about Dan Campbell today. My biggest problem is not kicking the field goal to tie. And it is weird that he felt one way about kicking at the end of the second and not the same way in the middle of the third. You got to kick the field goal to tie with 7 minutes left. But this is how he's coached all year. And he decided to stay true to himself in the NFC Championship game. For me, part of being a great coach is adjusting to the situation. And I think this situation called for a different approach. And now the Lions are home. And the odds are, by the way, not because they're not good, the odds are they may never get this opportunity again. And not just when I say this opportunity again, the opportunity to get to the NFC Championship game, to get a game away from the Super Bowl, and the opportunity to have a double-digit lead in the second half of that game. This opportunity they just had, it's likely they'll never get this opportunity again. And that's why it stings so bad if you're Lions. But this shit is hard, man. The Dolphins haven't had this opportunity in 32 years. This is hard. I can't crush Dan Campbell. Second guess it. Well, it's not even second guess. I was doing it in real time. I don't agree with the way he went about yesterday's second half, but I can't crush him. He's been so incredible for that franchise. That fan base just had the most enjoyable season and postseason run they have ever had. I have a hard time believing a single Detroit Lion fan is mad at Dan Campbell. They may not agree with the decisions like I don't agree with it. I got a hard time believing a Lions fan is mad at Dan Campbell. It's an opportunity waste. You're crushed. You're heartbroken. I get it. But I think an extremely small percentage of Lion fans are mad at Dan Campbell today. Be crushed. But man, they were so close. So close. I was doing hard for them, man. That's tough.